Hey everybody, it's Terry and Leafspar here with BJD prompts number 8. It is the BJD Stereotypes. So, I'm going to break this down into two parts. One is going to be about the people, because that's a really big part of the BJD hobby / community. The other one is going to be more specifically about the dolls. A little bit later in the week, probably on Thursday, I will be doing a package opening. I've had this package sitting around for a while. Sorry, like my mustache itched. Well, not the mustache, but anyways. I've had this package laying around for a little while, and I've not, sorry, my light is blindingly white, but it is a 18-inch American Girl clothing item, Unavailable by Rita. I'll try to take a picture of this and just throw the card up there. My light's not going to cooperate. She has really great clothes. I've done package openings before. But it is BJD Stereotypes. Like I said, I'm going to break it down into two parts. People and dolls. Two really big, only two categories I could come up with at least. This is how I did it in my head. If you're just now coming up to this playlist, sorry, like if I lean this way, my light's catching glare. For me, this is how I broke it down in my head. And if you're just now coming up on this playlist, when I started attacking these prompts, I took the word in the prompt, you'll see the list down below in the description box, and I took it as do what you want with it. It's their prompt list, but I'm making it my own. So, taking the word stereotype. People get stereotyped, items get stereotyped. So, with people, I think that people who own things get stereotyped based off gender. So guys who own dolls, guilty, tend to get grouped into a category very, very quickly. Automatically they get categorized as gay men and feminine, probably both, just because they're the items, not the people, but the items, dolls, are little girl playthings. So because they're little girl playthings, then that must mean that you're feminine, therefore you're gay, therefore you're playing with little girls' things, and therefore you must be. So this stereotype and stigma, it's terrible, because not all males who collect dolls happen to be gay men. It sounds kind of funny coming from me, is what it is. I mean, I'm probably not the best advocate for this argument, but it happens to be the truth. I do happen to have a couple of friends. They're more my mother's friends than my friends. They're older. It's kind of how she got into collecting dolls way back then. But they collected porcelain, and they're not. I mean, they're men, but they're not gay. But they're more like, so they're bisque porcelains. They're antiques. So, is what it is. To keep from going way down a rabbit hole and on a tangent, it's kind of like girls who like trucks. It doesn't make them lesbians because they're playing with an item that happens to be a gender identified as typically male. It's strange. To me, it's strange. So, to kind of keep moving forward, I also think that for whatever reason, and I have a belief here, even if you're not kind of thrown into that category as a gay male, or you're not identified as being immature for collecting a plaything or a toy, because these are not, they're toys because you play with them, but they're not toys. They're not cheap. You kind of, some people are freaked out by them. They're scared by them. So you either kind of get that you're collecting toys, you're weird, you're strange, or they're creepy. They're weird. So you're weird, you're strange, you're odd. Which, I mean, is what it is, but I think those, in my opinion, tend to be the two most common stereotypes that, and I really haven't experienced them, but I've heard them the most commonly be experienced. I have to say that I have been lucky, I've been fortunate, especially being in the South, because I am in the South. I've not experienced much, but now I'm also not a very public person. I don't go around with a big t-shirt on that says, you know, I'm gay and I collect dolls. Maybe I should. Anyways, I just don't. Like, it's not my thing. You know, people where I work, because I do work at Walmart, they have seen me purchase toys, and they're my coworkers, but that's not uncommon. They're just toys. And I have shown a couple of my coworkers the BJDs that I have painted, but it's different. I haven't really shown them my Barbie collection. I've shown them my American Girls, these two. But again, it just seems different because they're like Lord of the Rings. They're more fantasy based, and I think that's kind of where I have fallen into kind of a unique subgroup in the hobby. Almost everything I've got is so fantasy based. They're werewolves, they're vampires, they're satyrs or goat demons that I've not really experienced much. It's more people are, that's a neat demon, that's a neat werewolf, that no one really says anything, and I haven't really caught any flack. Now, on to the other category that I really wanted to kind of talk about is the other stereotypes that really kind of exist in our hobby is the dolls themselves, the BJDs themselves. I really think coffee. I'm having to use a straw. My mustache is getting so long, it all gets caught in my mustache. I really think that the BJDs, and I was guilty of this at first, and it really wasn't so much I felt this specific way. It was so much that I wasn't sure until I experienced this at a retreat. Not this exact thing. I'll clarify it in a minute. It was me being unsure. So I have one doll Granado head. Most of my dolls, minus the doll Granado head and some artist crafted from Tiffy BJD Crafts, almost all my dolls are from Impel Doll, other than the ones I just listed. So, that being said, I personally have only experienced in my house that quality. So I think there is a stereotype, and I've heard it, I've not experienced it. I was unsure in the beginning what Impel Doll has a price point of about $500 for an SD. It is much cheaper through Resin Soul. It is even cheaper through Mirodoll. I don't know if there's anything cheaper than Mirodoll. Through research, I've not seen anything cheaper than Mirodoll. So there is, from what I have heard, not experienced, there is a belief that the quality is less at Mirodoll and at Resin Soul than other companies. And I'm not going to say than Impuldoll, than say another company that has a $1,700 doll. Because I think even Impuldoll is on the low end at a $500 doll. Because they're not much different than Resin Soul as far as price point. So there's this belief that price point equates to quality. And I don't believe that to be true. I recently got to experience at a convention, I got to play with, experience a Resin Soul doll. It was a very beautiful doll, really nice doll. I've only got to see them beforehand in pictures. They're beautiful, but because I'd only experienced Impuldoll resin, and you hear people talk about kind of the natural tooth and resin or whatever. Me being virtually new to the hobby in the grand scheme of things, I really just didn't know what it meant. So I got to experience it. I think there's this really strong stereotype that name and price equates to quality, and that's not necessarily the truth. Quality control equates to quality. Price does not equate to quality. If you find a company that has really good quality control, you may pay for it. You may not. Impuldoll, for example, I have a ton of them. I've experienced it. They have their problems. Their problem tends to be color consistency and a little bit of a problem with communication. But my orders are always on time. The price is good. They have a great layaway system. They fix any problem that you have. And the quality is good. But the price isn't $1,700 a doll. So price and name does not equate to quality. I'm about to get on like a soapbox here, and we're at 15 minutes. I think that's another stereotype that really strongly exists in our community. Now, unfortunately, if you have a particular sculpt preference as far as appearance goes in your group, you may have to deal with a very specific company in order to keep with that particular aesthetic. That's just a thing, unfortunately, just because most companies have their own theme and aesthetic. Impuldoll's is very unique. The sad part is I don't like many of their human sculpts. I only like their fantasy sculpts, but they do their fantasy sculpts well. And there are other companies that I just don't particularly care for any of their sculpts, but that's where it comes to preference. My point is, those are two really strong stereotypes that exist within our community, that gender and what we collect equates to our preference sexually, and price point and name equates to quality. And that's sadly and unfortunately, none of that is life equation. It doesn't math. But it's a rather serious prompt for Tuesday. There will be another video on Thursday where I do a package opening. It'd be brief. And there may be another one on Saturday, trying to get a little caught up, and I may try to do something a little more regularly and try to get on a little bit of a schedule. I keep saying that and then it fails, but we'll see what happens. Hope all of you have a great rest of the day, and bye.